Okay, so today's music theory lesson 3. First thing is, if you haven't seen lesson 1, then lesson 3 is going to freak you out. So if you haven't seen lesson 1, go do that. Because lesson 3, we're going to take lesson 1 and basically put those two staves together for what we call the grand staff. And, sorry, pardon my garbage writing. It's okay, you guys get the point. And the way that we brace a grand staff, the instrument that sees this most is, go ahead and guess. You're right, piano. Yeah, I hope that's what you said anyway. They are dealing with both our left hand and right hand upper and lower notes. So they're going to use that treble clef and bass clef together. And so what you see up top here, after I pick my beautiful purple pen for this lesson, is the way that those are bracketed. So you see there's a beautiful brace that's going to connect our treble and our bass clef. And it looks got this snazzy look up to it. And basically we're just connecting those, right? And usually it's piano. Sometimes we see marimba that gets to use this beautiful item as well. Just think any instruments that have such a wide range, but it's mostly piano. So for all of you guys who are always like, oh, I always want to learn how to play piano, here we go, right? We're going to look at the grand staff. So this next picture that you see basically just lays out what those pitches are. And what you can see is in the middle right here is this beautiful guy called middle C. Middle C is a big deal. That is usually kind of where we sit at our piano, and it's where the C that is directly in the center, it's what divides our piano in half, is located. And it's also where our two staves join together. So the staff, that C that would be under for treble clef, is going to sound the same way as the C that is one line above in bass clef. If you could think about what that is, right? That one underneath is going to sound exactly the same as the one that is above. That C is what joins them, okay? And that's why it's called middle C. It's the middle of the two staves. Once you've already memorized our, good burritos don't fall apart. And then we have our beautiful middle C. And then we have our every good boy does fine, like we had in lesson 1. And all of the ones that are in between that, we see sort of how these two connect, and we could use those if we were playing piano. Then we're going to talk about, real quick, ledger lines. So ledger lines are going to extend the staff, and that's literally this little definition that it gives you. Boom, they're extending the staff to either go downward or upward. If you're an instrument like flute or clarinet, sometimes trumpet, and lots of low brass instruments, actually. If you think trombone, baritone, we tend to see notes that use these upper ledger lines, right? The top ones. So I'm going to circle, like, these are very common in trombone and euphonium and baritone instruments. And these upper ledger lines are almost all the flutes ever see, right, up top. Versus if we play clarinet, we get the best of both worlds. We get these low notes and even some underneath that, right, that just keep skyrocketing down there. And we also get those really high notes, right? If you're a clarinet, you get all of it. And if you play like bass clarinet and things, we usually see those lower notes, right? Extensions. Of course, our friends who play tuba are living the land down there in bass clef, right? So if you're used to your instrument seeing these ledger lines, and a lot of them will become familiar based on your instrument's range. But if your instrument is now, say, piano, and you're only used to reading whatever your native instrument's range is, just know learning these ledger lines, it just takes practice, guys. You have to spend time with it, and it doesn't hurt to, at first, sort of write in what you need for help, because these extensions of our ranges, we kind of get outside of our normal, every good boy does fine, good burritos don't fall apart atmosphere, and we have to come up with ways to either remember those, or it just becomes sort of memorization. But this is just real quick, our ledger lines are going to extend our staff. They're going to give us space so we can play higher and lower than just those 5 lines. And we're looking at that sort of in the context of our grand staff, which we would use if we were all going to become pianists one day, which sounds like what makes the world a better place if everybody plays piano. So I hope you got some information out of that and I didn't talk too fast for you. And there you go, the grand staff.